I absolutely love it. Now available in 9 colours. Really annoying. I'm using axle stands. Job's a good one. Oh my god, I broke it. That is definitely broken. Oops. Looks so cool in my opinion. I know loads of you disagree. My beautiful girlfriend Kat has arrived. Thank you, darling. She's a smoky old girl. Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Marcus Hayes and today I'm going to be messing about with my old banger Ford Escorts, believe it or not. As usual, I've slept in later than I was hoping today, so I need to hit the road and get down to my other garage ASAP. But first, I've got a couple of things to show you. First of all, check out this super cool picture of Esther and Maude, which was created on an iPad. And that was sent to me by a young lad called Max Cooper. So a massive shout out and a thanks to you, mate. I absolutely love it. Now, Max's dad, Gary, owns a Mk2 Granada with a Rover V8 in it. And I'm hoping to get that car on the channel once all this lockdown malarkey is finished. Those of you who follow me on social media may remember the car from when I shared it on there. And if there's any more of you out there that would like me to share your cars on my social media and my website, I've actually created an email address specifically for the car shares, just so that the messages don't get lost in amongst all my other messages on social media. So if you want me to feature your car, just send an email to mhukcars@gmail.com. In the email, do let me know if maybe in the future you might be interested in making a video about the car and just include some details about the spec and the story behind you owning it, and obviously some pictures, and I'll share them all on my social media, and some of them hopefully I'll be able to come down and make a video about in the future as well. Now there is one more thing I want to show you before I hit the road, and that is the new MH Decals. These are now available in 9 colours rather than just white and black, and that is all thanks to a new supplier. They're able to supply the decals a bit cheaper than my old sticker supplier could, so I've dropped the price of the decals on my website. Right, that's enough waffling. I need to hit the road and head down to my other garage. Into the cockpit then of Maude, my moredoor Mk2 Escort, who has been playing up a little bit over the past week or so, but she does take quite a lot of abuse on a daily basis, so it's inevitable that every now and again I need to get the spanners out to give her a bit of TLC. In a recent video I mentioned a guy called Corrick Murphy, and I wrongly pronounced his name Podraig, so massive apology for that, mate. And I've been chatting to him quite a lot recently, and he's currently building an Opel Manta GTE, and he's struggling to get parts for it, to be honest. So if any of you guys out there are breaking a Manta GTE, do let me know and I'll pass your details on to Corrick. Right, so I've made it to the garage and I've already got Maude's front end jacked up. And yes, I'm using axle stands. Now the first thing I want to do, which I've already shown on the channel before, is adjust the angle of Maude's engine, because the exhaust is banging really badly on the passenger side floor. Yeah, I really noticed it when I was editing the snow drifting video recently, and yeah, it's really annoying when I'm driving along and you can hear the exhaust banging on the floor. So I'm just going to undo the engine mounts and then jack up the driver's side of the engine. Just going to do it on the bell housing, and then I'll just whack the passenger side mount down so it sits down further in the slot in the cross member. Do the passenger side one up, and you can let the jack down. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to have this mount any higher. It's quite near the top of the slit of the cross member now. And do the driver's side one back up. Yeah, it doesn't appear to be banging now, so job's a good one. Now, while she's still jacked up, I want to have a quick look at the starter motor. When it was really cold a couple of days last week, you'd go to start the car and you'd push the button and it'd sort of just go, and then you'd push it again and it would start normally. So I don't know if the starter's on its way out or whether the electrical connector is loose, which I'm going to check now, or whether the cold weather is affecting it. I don't know. But yeah, it's a really intermittent fault. And I actually did notice the other day that this wire was loose. Basically one of the screws was missing, and I've replaced it now with this Allen key bolt. But the starter motor issue did occur a couple of times since I've done that, so that wasn't the reason for it. The main battery cable going to the starter is nice and tight. This one's okay. I did notice that where I'd added this extra bit to the trigger wire, there wasn't any tape on it, and while I was at work the other day, the only thing I had was duct tape, so I put that on it. Yeah, I just thought that maybe that was sort of touching the body, but yeah, the issue did occur since I put that on as well. So yeah, maybe this starter motor's on its way out. It is a bit close to the exhaust manifold. Maybe the heat's affecting it, or as I say, maybe the really cold weather is affecting it, but I'm not going to bother removing it today because it's been working fine the last few days. Now, the other issue I had during the week was when I'd pull up to a junction, Maude's engine would try and cut out sometimes, and then other times it would be over revving. So I immediately assumed that the carb linkage needed a bit of a clean and lube. So I sprayed a load of WD-40 on the mechanism for the carb, both sides. And while I was doing that, I noticed that this throttle cable spring was broken. You can see that it's in two pieces now, and both of the pieces have sort of intertwined with each other. So that's obviously what's been causing the issue, and I've ordered myself a new throttle cable from my friends at Burton Power, and I'll leave a link to their website in the description of this video. So here is the new throttle cable, and basically the way this attaches is at both ends you've got this sort of divot, and that attaches to a ball that's on the end of this, and there's a similar ball on the throttle pedal, and then there's just a little clip that slides on to keep it all attached, and likewise with the throttle pedal end. Now I'm a bit worried about doing this job because when I fitted the cable that's fitted to the car now, on the pedal end, the ball on the pedal was too big to go into the divot on the cable. Now that cable that's fitted to the car now is a really cheap one off of eBay, and I'm hoping that I modified the cable to fit the pedal rather than modifying the ball on the pedal to fit the cable. And obviously I'm hoping that this one will just fit straight onto the pedal. I also had to cut this sort of plastic tube down on this cable that's fitted to the car. So basically I'm hoping that I won't have to mess around with this cable and that it will go straight on. I've also got a feeling that I had to bore out the square hole in this bracket to make this cable fit, but that might have been from a previous setup. But yeah, I definitely remember doing that to one of the throttle cable brackets once upon a time. So yeah, we'll just have to remove this cable from this end and the pedal end and then see what's what. Oh, that came off without removing the clip. That's not supposed to happen. I absolutely hate removing these from the bracket, but it's not so bad when I know that I'm throwing it away.
It's not so bad when I know that I'm throwing it away.
It's got these clips on all four sides, but you get three out and then you try and do the fourth one and the other one's popped back in. So yeah, here's those four little clips, one on each side. And as you can see, it was indeed this bracket that I bored out. I'm hoping that this one isn't any smaller than the old one, otherwise it's not going to be a tight fit in there. Yeah, it still feels like a nice tight fit, so I'm not going to clip that in yet. Let's deal with the pedal end. So with the cables side by side, you can see what I was saying about this tube. I had to cut this down, but the new one looks like it's the same length as this one after I cut it, so that's good. But you can clearly see that this divot is a lot bigger than this one. And it doesn't look like there's enough room in this material to bore it out like I did with this one either. Yeah, I don't know why the ball on my accelerator pedal is too big. Yeah, it's very strange. So maybe the answer would be to use this old cable and just switch these springs around, if that's possible. Let me just see if I can get this on the pedal. Do you know what? It actually does go on. I don't know if because this one's plastic and the old one's metal, maybe that's why, but you know, that's a massive difference in size. And I remember when I modified that old cable, you know, I was doing it trial and error, like bore it out a bit, try and fit it, bore it out a bit, try and fit it, and it definitely wouldn't go on without boring it out. But ultimately, the new cable does go on, so let's get it fitted. slide this clip on without dropping it. No, I won't clip that in yet. Looks like this bulkhead clip's going to be a very, very tight fit. Like that. Can't get this metal clip to slip down now. Strange. A bit of lube maybe. That's annoying. Maybe I should put the clip in first. I don't think that's going to work, to be honest, but I've got to get this thing out again, which is annoying. Oh my god, I broke it. That is definitely broken. Oops. So now I've got no choice but to refit the old cable and hope that I can switch the springs round. Alright, so as you just saw, I managed to switch the spring around from the old cable. I also put the bulkhead grommet from the new cable onto this old cable as well. Here's the old bulkhead grommet. Basically the washer sort of part of it broke off before, and then I had to put that metal washer on it, which I've just dropped. And yeah, this is sort of split. I managed to get this one on without splitting it though, which is good, and now it's a nice tight fit in the hole. But I do have quite a big problem. Now when I went to remove the new cable to refit the old one, basically the clip that holds the cable onto the pedal pinged off somewhere, and I ain't got a clue where it's gone. So now I've fitted the one that was fitted to the carb end to the pedal end, but I don't have one to fit to the carb end. I did have a look through my extensive collection of old nuts, bolts and clips, but I couldn't find one. Can't really drive the car with this cable like this, it will just come off if I just put it on. There you go, it's only a matter of time before it pops off. So yeah, I'm going to have a go at trying to attach it with a cable tie or something, but it's not looking good. Hang on a minute, I wonder if my Dads Mk3 has a similar clip on that car's throttle cable. Oh, it does as well, look. Exactly the same. Sweet. Let's just hope it's the right size and hope it doesn't ping off and I don't lose this one as well. Sweet. Well, it's on there. It does seem a bit loose. Don't know if it's maybe a slightly different size or what, but it's definitely going to keep it on there so I can drive the car home. Right, so that's Maude's throttle cable sorted. I'm going to order a load of those clips because that's not the first time that one's pinged off and I've lost it. I'm not going to bother trying to send that throttle cable back to Burton Power. Obviously, I'm using the bulkhead grommet and the spring from it now anyway. And yeah, I clearly did break it myself. When you're working with plastic parts in the cold, you do need to be a bit careful, and I am a bit clumsy. Now, while I've got my Dad's Mk3 bonnet open, I've actually got a new battery to fit to her, so I'm going to crack on with that. And now that she's got a new battery, I suppose it'd be rude not to fire the old girl up. She hasn't been run for a while. She's a smoky old girl. Now, as you can see, the Mk3 has one of the new dark blue MH decals fitted. Now, I was around here yesterday and I managed to fit that one to the driver's side, but I couldn't fit one to the other side. And pretty soon she'll be wearing a Clumpfab sticker on the rear windscreen as well. As I mentioned in a recent video, she's going in for some more welding at Clumpfab in a couple of weeks. Not sure whether I'm going to get Chris to redo this arch. It will need a bit of fiberglass filler in there if I'm gonna keep it as it is, but the inner arch was done at the same time and that's all solid. And it also had a plate down here and I think something down here as well. But yeah, Chris is definitely gonna have to do something with this bottom corner here on the driver's side. And there's some more rust inside there. And if I remember rightly, there's some more rust in there as well. And there's a bit there. But yeah, whatever Chris finds when the car's down there, he's more than capable of sorting out. But yeah, this Mk3 is still a seriously solid old girl. Right, so with my Dad's Mk3 now tucked away inside the garage, and with Maude now back on all fours, I'm going to spend a little bit of time on Esther, my ST170 powered Mk1 Escort. Now, I'm not going to bring her out because it's just started raining. Esther's now wearing one of my light blue MH Decals on her carbon boot lid, and I'm going to be putting another one of those on her carbon front lip as well. And yeah, I think it looks really cool having the light blue decals on the carbon bits and the black decals on the blue bits, like these ones I've got on the front wings. Now, as I mentioned before, when Rob does the paint job on Esther's front panel, he's also going to lacquer my carbon bumpers for me. Now, I've already got the front quarter bumpers removed, but now I'm going to remove the rear bumper. What I'm going to do with this rear bumper is leave the brackets attached to the car and just undo the bolts themselves. I'm not going to bother getting the carbon brackets lacquered. Obviously, on the front bumpers, I needed to move the brackets out of the way because the front panel's getting painted, so that's why I removed the bumpers and the brackets at the front. And I'm thinking that I might actually paint these black. I have to be so careful when I'm working on this car. Literally weighs nothing and looks so cool in my opinion. I know loads of you disagree. My beautiful girlfriend Kat has arrived, hopefully with my obligatory Costa coffee. Thank you, darling. Caramel, no doubt. Some crisps as well. Alright, so I've removed the dome head bolts from the front bumpers now as well. And here's the brackets from the front bumpers. I'm going to tuck them away because, as I say, I'm not going to bother getting the brackets lacquered. Now, what I was going to do today is remove these bits for the bonnet latch and remove the chassis tags as well. But I'm actually going to leave that for another day. It's starting to get dark now, and with the car in the garage, because it's raining outside, those bits will be a bit awkward to remove. Right, so that concludes another day in the life of this idiot and his old banger Ford Escorts. Plenty more coming up on the channel over the next couple of months, and then hopefully the world will start getting back to normal so that we can actually have a show season this year. If you thought this video was any good, please do give it a thumbs up and a share. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Click subscribe to keep up to date with all my future uploads, and check the links in the description to my social media and my website. I'll also leave my email address down there for anyone who wants to contact me. And for those of you who want to feature your cars on my social media or on the channel, there's a separate email address for that in the description as well. But other than that, thank you so much for all your support of my channel. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bonus content for those of you that watch the videos till the end. The car was just popping and banging when it was under load, and basically that red wire in there is loose for the coil pack plug. Yeah, I'm only just round the corner from my garage, so I'm just gonna push Maude back round there and deal with it another day. Luckily, Kat hadn't gone too far before the problem occurred.